Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast back on the podcast waves. Isn't that what they'd be called? It's not the airwaves.
Yeah,
podcast
no, podcast waves. Yeah.
All right. Works for me.
I like it.
Here we are, inching ever closer to the end of the season, watching the playoff races, the back and forth between a couple of teams in the wild card. I think some things are starting to settle in, so we'll take a look at that. We'll say goodbye to somebody in this episode and look for a little credit for something as well. Talk about all that, and we're going to kind of do things out of order today. I'll explain all that in a second, but first, you can find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
You can also check in our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Got a Fanatics link on there that will take you to check out gear from the Dodgers, the Angels, or while you're there, you can just go look at something else. You don't have to get just those teams. You can get any teams you want, and not even just the NFL started. So now you can, I mean, not that you couldn't get it before, but now that you got more reasons to go out there and get that. And I think the Chiefs have actually given Taylor Swift her own number now, from what I understand, which apparently has upset Brittany Mahomes because she didn't get her own number.
Yeah, she's been there longer.
And she's married to the quarterback.
That's right.
Well, hey, if I don't know if anybody saw it, but if you can see the stupid hat that Travis Kelce was wearing in a lot of pictures before they went to some event, it's a Gucci hat. I guess I don't know what that means, but anyway, let's head to Anaheim. As we know, things have just been meh in Anaheim. Nothing really to talk about one way or the other. They have their good moments, they have their bad moments. Something that I noticed was when I was looking at their or their first half record versus their second half record, they're actually got a worse record in the second half than they do in the first half. And I keep talking about the positive things that we're seeing, but we're also seeing, like we talked about, Zach Neto getting benched because he's just not into the game. I've noticed a few plays where these guys, I think I've seen a few of these guys looking like they're a little cockier than they should be. And I think part of that is they don't really have any veteran leadership on this team to kind of keep these guys in order. So Zach Neto, who, cool, you came up, you've been a great asset to the team, but that doesn't give you, that doesn't put you in a position to think that you're above everything, that you're, that's what got Joe Adell with issues this whole time. And we'll talk a little bit more about Joe Adell coming up. But first, when I said we were going to go out of order, this is probably a surprise to you too. We're going out of order because we're going to talk about Texas first. Then we'll talk about the Freeway Series, which actually happened before the Texas Series and before the DN Series with the Dodgers. So we'll talk Texas, the 4 games that they played there. Then we'll go to we'll talk about the Dodgers in Anaheim. Combine those two, and then we'll hit the Dodger segment to talk about what happened with the Deans and a few other things.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, so a little out of order action. Texas, 4 games, and they lost the series 3-1. Or 1-3, because they only won the one game, which was the second game. And in that game, and I'd like you to say his name this time with the appropriate accent, since you were all about saying Arrighetti last week on this.
That puts me on the spot.
I'm putting you on the spot. I'll give you a few seconds here, and we'll hold off on game number 2.
Okay.
And so that you can run it through in your head. Game 1, they lose it 3-1. Kahanowitz, who is only making his 4th or 5th start there, still looking okay. I mean, he gave up 8 hits, 3 runs. It didn't strike anybody out, but he throws 6 innings, and overall doesn't look bad as far as that goes. Zach Neto, 3 for 4. Shanuel with an RBI. It was really the first night out. It was really Adolis Garcia's night.
That's it.
With a 3-run home run. And he played well throughout. He had an RBI the next night as well. Game 3. And I bring this one up for a couple reasons. Starting his 6th game for the Rangers, a teammate of a guy we're going to talk about coming up in around baseball, Jack Leiter, who went to Vandy. He starts this game. Things just aren't looking good for him. He's got a 10.41 ERA.
Ooh, ouch.
I wonder sometimes what happens. Not everybody. I was a great Little League player, but as you go, 2 things have to happen. Your commitment to the game has to get stronger at every level. And if you're not really willing to do all that work and basically eat, breathe, sleep baseball and nothing else, or whatever sport, then it's hard to move up. So when you go from being in Little League, you can be a great Little Leaguer, maybe a good senior leaguer or a good high school player or decent high school player. I was a decent high school player, but that's where it ended for me. Do I think I could have been a pro at some point if I'd had the right mental state? And I didn't. That's just how it works. So I wonder if he's just not, he's got raw talent, but he's just not, something's just off there.
Well, I wonder sometimes with these the guys that have, their dads, their uncles, somebody's played in the big leagues, and obviously we know Ken Griffey Jr. I'm not saying that's they're great. Ken Griffey Jr. was great, but I wonder, because when you said Leiter, it brought up Biggio, he's been everywhere now. He was with the Dodgers. He was with Toronto, with the Dodgers.
Now he's with the Braves.
He's with the Braves. I think it was with Giants, and then the Giants sent him to the Braves for cash. So I just wonder if for some of these guys in that situation, if they feel maybe they need to, maybe a mental thing, they have to be up here where they need to work to get up there, but they maybe expect to be up there.
See, I think maybe, and I don't know Kevin Biggio, but
I don't
in his case, Kevin Biggio's dad's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
That's a big thing. As good as Ken Griffey Sr. was, he was a good major league player.
Right.
His son took it a step farther.
Yeah.
And is a Hall of Famer.
Right.
You look at fathers and sons, will Vladdy Jr. be a Hall of Famer? Don't know.
Yeah.
the fielders,
Mhm.
Cecil and Prince.
Right.
I think they ended with almost identical numbers. Neither of them, they were just very good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just wonder that sometimes when
it
you
could be.
see guys, they were so good and they were top prospects in college, they get drafted and then it just kind of falls apart for them. Not that they can't come back from that, but that's like putting your best foot forward.
Right.
It hasn't happened yet.
So Tyler Anderson, who will be an Angel next year or two, unless they trade him for some reason, not a bad outing. Only 5 innings, but only gave up 2 runs on 1 hit, struck out 7. Medeiros, I don't even remember his first name because he just gave up 3 runs in that game. And Roanzi Contreras also is he's a batting practice pitcher. It seems like. So last week we were singing the praises of Caden Dana.
Yeah.
Had such a great first outing, and that all came crashing down with him and the Junior Angels. Just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, the Junior All-Stars.
Not even.
Not even All-Stars.
Not even All-Stars. They are just Junior Angels. Their
Right.
parents all signed them up.
And everybody gets to play.
Right. They got that. And on Sundays after the game, they get to run around the bases. So
Nice.
something they don't normally get to do during the games.
Ah.
So, yeah, bad outing for him. But this is the thing. There was kind of a swap between the rookie pitchers. So Caden Dana goes 1 inning, gives up 5 runs on 7 hits, struck out 1, 3 home runs.
Oh.
Marcus Simeon, Nathaniel, don't call me Nate, Lowe, and Duran. I don't remember his first name. And they were up against a former Angel and Dodger twice.
Right.
Andrew Hank.
That's right.
Anyway, let's go to game 2. We'll make this a spotlight game for this series. And the reason we're going that way is, well, Logan O'Hoppe had a home run, 3 RBIs. Brandon Drury scored 1 run, went 2 for 4. And the Italian kid went 6 innings, gave up 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 7. And the other nice thing is the bullpen only gave up 1 hit.
Yeah, they kept it together.
No runs. They did. They kept it together. Gave Samuel
Altogether.
very good. His first major league win, and 5-1. And the Angels looked good that day. They didn't look good any other day.
What day?
In the Texas series.
What day was it? They had was it Sunday that they had the roof open?
They had it. Yeah, they had it open on Sunday, and
Yeah.
I think they even had it open on Saturday. But they definitely had it open on Sunday.
Which is a contrast because if they were playing in Anaheim, which is outdoors anyway, it was like super, super hot.
It was exactly opposite of what, Texas all summer was 113. Had they been playing here, it was 113.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Sam Aldegheri gets his first major league win, and he is I think the first Italian-born to win a game in a long time, because there's been other Italian-born players, just not born and raised, like signed from Italy,
right,
playing in Italy when they got to that point. And the Phillies are the ones who went over there and got him. All right, so let's do the out of order portion here, and let's move on. In fact, before we do that, let me tell you, the Angels, when they finished up with Texas, they headed up to Minnesota. So they're taking on the Twins, and That's that finished up yesterday, and the Angels head home to take on the Asterix. How about a player of the week for the Angels? You got one?
I do. I have a player of the week. I went through, I looked at everything, and I felt like he was probably in every game the most consistent hitter. I mean, I think there might have been one game. I don't know. I'm trying to, maybe one game where he didn't get a hit, and that was probably in that first game. But I'm going to go with Taylor Ward.
Yeah, Taylor Ward's a good choice. He has been on a tear recently, which is good. He's putting himself in a position because he'd had such a hard time. And even Ron Washington talked about him and said he thought that the first part of the season he was having a hard time engaging after taking that ball to the face from Alek Manoah last year.
Yeah.
And that he was probably having a hard time. And now he's picking it up. He's hit some leadoff home runs. He's been hitting the leadoff spot and really picking it back up. So hopefully that builds up and puts him in a good position for next season. And since we're talking about, let me give you my player of the week before we're done here. Samuel Aldegari.
Oh, good. Yeah. Very nice.
Just simply by the fact that he had such a great outing and, helped the team pick up a win a day. And luckily the bullpen and the offense worked with him on that. And the other thing to keep in mind is that we'll talk about it more next week probably, but the Big E has come to Anaheim. The Angels have been eliminated.
Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, everybody realizes that, except that Anaheim says they still have one more game to be mathematically eliminated. But I've done the math. There's not enough games left for them to make up 17 games in the wild card, or 17 and a half in the AL West. So they're going to have a worse record than they had last year. But when we talk to the AL West, the A's will not lose 100 games this season.
Woo!
And they haven't done that since 2021. So they've had 2 seasons of 100+ losses. All right. Angels and Dodgers. Dodgers show up. First time that Shohei has come to play in Anaheim in an official season game.
Right.
They did play there for the Freeway Series at the beginning of the season. And first game out, Angels actually didn't look that bad. It was a close game pretty much throughout.
Yeah, I mean, that took them into innings.
Mm-hmm. And it was close until the top of the 10th. Now, before we get to the 10th, we were looking at, for this series, we were looking at 4 pitchers that have all had issues. And we're all wondering what's going to happen with them. And in this first one, Reed Detmers, who'd been in AAA since like June, makes his first start back. And with the exception of the fact that he ends up losing, which wasn't his fault.
No.
He pitched a pretty good game. He went 6 innings, only gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, struck out 10, and threw exactly 100 pitches. And then the Dodgers threw Walker Buehler, who we know it's been kind of suspect, who goes 5 innings, gives up 2 runs and 5 hits, and struck out 6. Each bullpen was a little taxed there. Each team sending 5 relievers, and it wasn't until the hit machine, and I don't know if the pitching machine, Ronzi Contreras, was the one who gets the L in the game. as far as the Angels are concerned, Logan O'Hoppe with a home run, Taylor Ward with a home run, Zach Neto went 2 for 4, and the Dodgers' biggest thing happened in the top of the 10th, and you can thank Mookie for that.
Yeah, definitely. So the decision was by Ron Washington was to walk Shohei Ohtani. And as we've seen, a lot of guys, I think we've seen, especially with Max Muncy, we've seen this happen where it's like, oh, you're going to walk the guy in front of me because you think I'm going to be an out. I'm the one who's going to be the, the out here. I'm not going to do anything. That was not the case. It fired. I don't think I've ever seen Mookie Betts so fired up after this he hit a home run, and he was like pumping his fist and coming back in the dugout, beating his chest, like, yeah. And I think Ron Washington, when you look at, was it the right choice? I mean, Ohtani was 1 for 4. He had a triple. And then you have Betts, but you could have walked Ohtani. You could have walked Betts, but then you have Freddie Freeman. So you're kind of in a hole. Who do you think's are you gonna get? And he thought it was gonna be Betts, and Mookie said, "Oh no."
No, and you know what? He really didn't look at the numbers.
Right.
Because Shohei, with runners in scoring position, is only hitting like 215, 220 or something like that.
And he had struck out twice in this game.
And I get you don't want to give him the opportunity. Don't tempt fate, I guess.
Right.
But he doesn't hit well with people in runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Mookie hits better.
Oh, yeah, which he proved. He proved with his 15th home run, 2-run homer. And, it sealed the deal for the Dodgers. The Dodgers win this game 6-2. I think going back to pitching, you look at Walker Buehler, and he's pretty much been limited in innings. And he goes 5 innings here. He still gives up 2 home runs. It was the better outing. It was a better outing for him, but I still don't see him on a postseason roster. I mean, I think at this point the Dodgers have to have him.
I don't think they have any choice. Right,
that's what I mean. I if you had a choice, I don't think he's on it. But at this point, they don't have a choice. And so he's going to have to figure it out. He's going to have to just go out there and pitch and stop worrying about, what the peripheral stuff. Because I think he worries about that too much.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, game 2 of the Freeway Series, another 2 pitchers that have been having their issues. Griffin Canning, starting for the Angels, who, with the exception of one recent game where he pitched, came in later after a couple of openers. They brought him in. He pitched pretty well. Next game out, didn't pitch very well. He's going up against Bobby Miller, who we, like Walker Buehler, coming back off of an injury, makes his debut in the season and pitches horribly. Didn't pitch well during his rehab starts.
No.
And now he comes to Anaheim to square off with Griffin Canning, and yeah.
I mean, he pitches 5 innings. He gives up 5 hits, 7 runs. 5 of those runs in the first inning. I mean, it was 5-0 in the first inning. And he had 3 walks, did have 8 strikeouts, but 3 home runs. He gave up 3 home runs. And
Yeah, Mickey Moniak, Nico Cavadas, and Taylor Ward all took him out of the yard.
And he's just there again. I feel like he and Walker Buehler almost seem to be like carbon copies of one another. They have to start pitching to pitch, not to do. Don't worry about how you're gripping this or where the seams are. Just pitch, just throw the ball like like muscle memory. Because I think they're instead of using the muscle memory, they're using, the brain to get into those places that it doesn't need to be. And if they just go out there and pitch, because neither one of them, I don't think, look comfortable on the mound. Walker Buehler seems to look, at first, when he first started pitching, when he came back after his rehab starts, which were not great, he didn't look comfortable to me on the mound. He's starting to look, but he's still not pitching great. Although you'll hear them say, "Oh yeah, that was a really good outing." Was it? Or are we just trying to look for something positive because we all know that the pitching rotation is not great? And then you have Bobby Miller, who terrible rehab starts. They bring him back because they have to. They don't really have a choice. And it's like he's lost. This is his lost season. Hopefully he finds himself next season. But we have no choice. Is he going to be on a postseason roster?
He's probably going to have to be. And
right.
It's a bad day when you give up a single that scores 2 runs to Anthony Rendon.
Right.
If Anthony
Put
Rendon
a bag on your head,
then yeah, might pitch better.
Right. Maybe. I know this game. I ended up not. I watched the first game. I ended up not watching this game, this 10-1 game, because I saw the score and I was like, "Are you kidding me? What in the heck is going on?" And I just thought, you know what? I think I'm going to set this one out, and I'm glad I did.
One thing that it didn't help that Bobby Miller couldn't stop the Angels offense, gives up those 3 home runs. Mickey Moniak with 3 RBIs. Taylor Ward went 3 for 4 that day. Like I said, Anthony Rendon with 2 RBIs.
Mm-hmm.
But Griffin Canning actually pitched well, 6 and 2/3. So he pitched into the 7th, gave up just 4 hits and 1 run, struck out 7 to help lead the Angels to victory. And like I said, really, the Angels pretty much dominated the series because it took Zinnings to get it done. And if it wasn't for a motivated Mookie,
right,
it was Mookie motivation. Who knows how that would have ended?
Yeah.
And then the next night they were just like, whatever. This team's about to be eliminated. We're going to that. We don't care.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. The Dodgers
had Bobby Miller to take advantage of pitching against a weaker team.
Right. And instead they beat him up. I mean, right off the bat, it was right from the get-go. Michael Grove came in, he gave up 2 hits, but didn't give up any runs. It was Peterson. What's his first name?
Michael Peterson.
Michael, yes. I should have known. It's Michael Grove, Michael Peterson. He's the one. He gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. And the Dodgers only had 6 hits in this game. So between Miller, Peterson, they did not help their cause. Because Miller gave up the 7 runs. Peterson said, let's get him to 10. And they did. And then for the bullpen, for the Angels bullpen, Strickland and Miller, they kept the Dodgers hitless. So
yeah, that was the bullpen overall's done very well.
Yeah.
So That's been probably the brightest spot, is that they've been able to do that. That the starters may be having their issues, and they really didn't. Neither of the starters. Reed Detmers was solid, as was Griffin Canning in this series. Not so much versus Texas, but a lot of this season is about growing and doing that, and they still have a long way to go. We'll talk about a couple guys coming up in around baseball, but right now it's time to head to the ravine.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
And that's where, like we said, the Dodgers were on the road with Anaheim. They come back home to face up with the AL Central leading Clevelandians. When you say that, Clevelandians, it almost sounds like you're saying Indians instead of Guardians.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling them just the Dians now, because it's the same ending.
It is.
For both.
Guardians, Indians. It works.
A lot of people there. I saw 2 people with Guardians gear on. Everybody else that had Cleveland gear, they had maybe a jersey that said Cleveland, but they all had the Chief Wahoo hats on.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be around.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder, because there's talk that there's tribes that are petitioning, and there's a lot of fans and everything petitioning the Washington Commanders to change their name back.
Right.
And I don't know, will that, if that happens, will that prompt the same thing in Cleveland?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it depends, because they're saying that the logo that the Redskins had was actually something to be honored.
Yes.
And who knows, the Indians, or the Cleveland, their Indian was more of a cartoonish.
Right.
And so that could be, I don't know if anybody's hollering about that, but anyway, they've got a team that is looking to go to to win the Central and head into the playoffs with I'm sure they're hoping to get the opening round bye along with whoever comes out of the East, between the Yankees and the Orioles, who keep going back and forth with one another, and then Houston. I don't remember what they look like as far as, I think it's actually Cleveland is the number 1 seed right now. The Yankees are number 2. And then Houston is number 3. So Houston's going to play in the first round, it looks like, no matter what, because they're like a good 6 or 7 games behind the Yankees. And then Baltimore is like about a half a game out. So depending on how games go, the Yankees are having to fight with the Royals this week, I know. So that's something. We'll talk about a little bit more about maybe that matchup, not so much the games, but a couple of participants coming up. But let's start with the first game, and Landon Knack on the mound for the Dodgers.
Yeah, Landon Knack coming in. Clayton Kershaw's on the IL, so Landon Knack is up. And this is a guy that I feel like out of that they've given him, starts, but then they send him down. And I think he's shown that he could be part of this rotation. He pitched 6 innings. He gave up 3 hits. He gave up 2 runs, but he had 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and, the 1 home run to Andres Jimenez. So, and that was in the 6th inning. So, and that was the first, that was Cleveland scored first in the 6th. So I feel like Landon Knack needs to be given, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing with him, but if I choose, yeah, between him and then you have Roboleski, and they seem to be kind of weighing more with Roboleski than with Knack, but I don't know how that's going to end up. And the big question is, we know the Dodgers will be in the postseason. How they will get there, we'll see. I mean, at this point, they're ahead in the West. But what will their pitching rotation look like? And I think Knack would have to be a possibility to be part of that rotation.
This was part of his, postseason audition, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
And he pitched well, even though they lost the game.
Right.
That wasn't on him. He held them to 2 runs. Banda gives up the other run. And of course, it was tough because at the end of the game, it really didn't matter what they did. They had to face off with everybody seems to be weighing in that this is the guy who is the front runner for the AL Cy Young in Emmanuel Clase. And we know he is like the best closer in baseball.
Yeah.
Right now, regardless of league. He's got a .69 ERA. He's just he looks unhittable a lot of the times. I mean, regardless of the fact that Shohei hit a home run in this game and Mookie hit 2 doubles, that was about it.
That was it. I mean, yeah, Shohei hit his number 45, and that was it. So I think, though, looking really at Landon Knack, definitely deserves to, a little bit more time. Another start I would see coming up at some point.
He needs a longer runway. Come on.
He does. Well,
Don't
right.
You know Dodger terminology?
I do, but I think sometimes they give some players like a runway for infinity in runway, and then they give other players the shorter runway. And sometimes I think it should be, either equal runway distance or, I don't know. It just
does runway apply to veteran players?
I mean,
maybe other than giving Mookie the runway he needed for shortstop.
Right. Yeah.
But like, let's say we talked about Kevin Biggio, playing him a lot more was like, let's just play him out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll rest people as we need to. We'll let him play out because we know he's a throwaway.
Right.
And I mean that in the best possible way.
Yeah, no, right. Sure.
I'm just saying.
No, I think you're right in that, because you want to give them the length, have them play, see how they do, how they fit in. And I think for all guys, especially those, and we saw this with the Dodgers, but with that trade deadline, some of the guys they got, it was an audition, and were they going to stay? And, a lot of them did not. But anyway.
And we're not going to know until we get to the postseason who's offensively or on outside of the pitching. The Dodgers are coming back to full strength. You got the guys, Max is back. Tommy Edman has really been picking it up.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the second game, he has went 2 for 4 in that game.
Yeah.
So you're like,
RBIs.
You got, Mookie looking good, now, so you've got that set up, that MV3 at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Teoscar, who's been out for a little bit, but when he comes back, hitting number 4, Max moved up to number 4, hit pretty well there. they got to have the balance, but there's enough there offensively that they can have that balance.
Oh yeah.
Now what happens? Well, in game 2, it was a bullpen game.
Yeah, and this one, it was kind of odd for me because Ryan Brazier started the game, which I don't think of him as a starter, but
He was an opener.
he was the opener, right? Not a starter, but I don't even think of him as an opener. Opener / starter, starter / opener. I don't see him that way, but it worked, it worked for him and for the Dodgers, for him to go out there. And I guess, as they would say, he set the table. He gave up a hit. That was it.
Now, I honestly expected him to go maybe 2 innings.
Yeah,
but he just went 1, and it
Mhm.
wasn't until the 2 guys that went 2 innings, kind of 2 or 3 in, was Justin Robleski pitched, and he
Right.
did 2 innings, and then towards the end of the game, or the last 2 innings, was left to what's his name, Honeywell Jr. I don't remember his first name. Turtleneck Honeywell Jr.
Yeah,
Brent Honeywell. That sounds about right.
Brett.
I don't.
Why do all of a sudden? What the heck's
I don't
his
know.
name?
I just know he wears
Mr. Turtleneck. That's how we refer to him as.
He's
Mr.
the turtleneck guy.
Yeah, the turtleneck guy. That's how we
Turtleneck guy.
Google it, and you'll.
And he just comes up. You write turtleneck guy, and he comes up.
He does.
That's his name.
Yeah. Overall, in this bullpen game, Brent. Okay, I was gonna say, like, Brett doesn't sound right, so Brent was correct. All right. So Ryan Brazier comes in. Robleski pitches 2 innings, gives up 1 hit. Trinan, Vesia, Kopech, and then, as you mentioned, Honeywell, he had the 2 innings. It was Michael Grove, who has been the opener before, and this time around he came in and pitched after Brazier, and he gave up a home run. And that's
Lane Thomas goes deep, and that took care of the 2 runs.
That took care of the 2 runs, but the Dodgers get 6 runs in the first.
Yes. It was exciting, making up for the night before where they couldn't get anything done. It was really Mookie with the home run, and Andy Pages with the home run, making the most of his September call-up.
Yeah, most definitely. So the Dodgers, I mean, it started off with Tommy Edman. He hits a ground rule double, and then they just circle around. It's 2-0, and then 6-0 with the Pages home run with Miguel Rojas, who was on base, and then it was the bottom of the 4th where Mookie Betts hit his 16th home run, and that would be it for the scoring. The bullpen game, they were able to keep Cleveland with just the 2 runs. That's it. So good game here. And I'm glad to see Honeywell back, because I felt like I was surprised when they DFA'd him, because he didn't have. It was the day after he had pitched, and it was like he didn't really have a bad night when he pitched, but it's just the way things are, because you got to take you got to take one away. If someone else is coming up, you got to put them there. So who's it going to be? And he just happened to be the one.
And now the question is what's going to happen with him, because Brusdar Graterol's on the horizon to come back.
Right.
Who's going to be odd man out in the bullpen? We won't know that till next week's show.
Right.
So we'll talk about that then. And then this game 3, there was a text message where one of us texted, Flaherty's got to go 6. And the response to that text was, He
more.
needs more than that. Or was it just
Right.
more? One word?
I think maybe
I think
so-
just one word, more.
more. Yeah. Well, I think when I say he has to go 6, I was saying he has to go at least 6. Maybe I should, if not more. But yeah, no, you're correct. And this is interesting because Jack Flaherty, he does go into the 8th inning. He ends up pitching 7 1/3. But this was the first time that he has pitched into the 8th inning since September 19th of 2019.
Yes.
I mean, that's a crazy stat.
And I looked to see so this is the longest he's gone since then. He did have in prior appearances to that, he has gone a full 8. He has no complete games in his career, but he had gone at least 8 prior to that. But like you said, since 2019, we were both doing the same research there, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I wondered about that. Was this the longest he'd ever gone? He made me think about like Blake Snell, having never done anything.
Right. Yeah.
So I checked that out, and so we were both there. So 7 1/3, gives up no runs, only the 4 hits, like you said. Michael Kopech, who I think was probably one of the best pickups.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Reading, they were talking about how great his fastball is, and the reason he's having so much success with the Dodgers. Number one, he's not on the White Sox anymore, so that I think right there is a recipe for success.
Right.
A different mindset, and number 2, he's not throwing the fastball as much, so it makes it better.
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes your pitchers, you rely on one that becomes your your bread and butter pitch, and then it kind of gets tired. It's tired out.
Everybody knows,
right? They know what to expect. So coming over to the Dodgers, I think it definitely allowed him to, look at some different pitches. Obviously he's been throwing before, but not rely on the one. Be able to mix it up.
I'm pretty sure that you pitch differently when you're ahead in games than if you're constantly behind.
Oh yeah.
And so it gives you more confidence maybe to throw some of those other pitches, whereas before you don't know, you want to stop the bleeding of getting beat. You just stick with that, like you said, your bread and butter pitch. I'm confident in this pitch, but then they figure it out.
Right. Yeah, they get it. They understand. Yeah, Shohei hits his 46th home run. In fact, I think it was in this game that the Guardians challenged the home run because where it landed was seriously, it was in the third deck. And it looked like maybe it was foul, but they seemed to think it was foul, but you could see where it landed because you can watch the people.
Right.
And they were on the right side of the foul, the foul pole where, yes, that's a home run. So they were where they're, anyway, I don't know why they would challenge that other than they were hot.
Because, yeah.
They were delirious. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was still, even at night over there, it was still warm.
Yeah.
For the game I went to, it was just Saturday night's game. Even though it's cooler there compared to where I live.
Yeah.
It was still 90 at night over there.
Yeah.
And that's unusual for us because usually it gets hot in the day and then cools down.
Right.
30 degrees. We'll go from 100 to 70 for the overnight. But yeah, that didn't happen last week.
Well, and it's
actually
nice.
Now it's weird because the heat finally broke. And even though it's 85 outside, it felt cold.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was nice to see Will Smith in this game. He was 3 for 4, had a double, had an RBI. He's been really off. this, I don't know, would you say since the All-Star break? That's where I think I've seen it the most since the All-Star break. He just has been off and just not something.
Well, if you look at his history,
Mm-hmm.
he is a second half fade almost every year.
That's
and
true.
You can look at his OPS.
Yeah.
Drops precipitously.
So we should be used to it.
We should be. But this year it's been worse because even his catching, his defense, the metrics there have dropped. His framing is off.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think he should just do like they did the Little League thing. I meant to bring this up during the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
The catchers would be set up in like the opposite side batter's box. And it would be way outside the batter's box even. And they'd almost have to like run over and catch it. And then they bring it back and try to put it in front of the plate. Like nobody noticed. It wasn't.
Yeah, nobody would notice that.
It's not like somebody like Alejandro Kirk, who is he's a great pitch framer there for the Blue Jays.
Yes.
Where he just kind of in one motion slides up there that if you're not really watching, you almost think that's where he caught the ball.
Right. Yeah,
These kids were like a mile away. They were in their own dugouts, and then they'd run it back over and try to frame it. And that's kind of what Will Smith's been doing, is that his framing has been off. I've seen it on a few where you see him where usually he's pretty good about that.
Yeah.
But he's setting up in that. So something has been going on, but I don't know what.
Right. Yeah. He's always been he's a quiet guy, I think, for the most part, even in interviews. And so who knows? And he's probably a very private person just from that observation. But Max Muncy had a home run in this game. Mookie Betts had a triple. And, CT3 has really been coming back to, I don't want to say he's not totally back to how we remember Chris Taylor, but a lot better than the first half. And that's the thing you need him going into the playoffs is, because he's probably going to be on the roster. Oh yeah.
Just because of his flexibility. And we know that, they're setting Lux against lefties.
Right.
And so CT3's been playing a lot of second base. They've been facing a lot of lefties lately. They're probably going to have to deal with that. They will have to deal with it at some point in the playoffs, depending on who they take on. And we'll look at that closer, like what kind of matchups they might have. Yeah. That will he play or will he won't? I kind of, there for a while, all I could think of was when I saw Dodgers play was it was all Gavin Lux. And lately I haven't really noticed him. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you haven't. Teoscar Hernandez was hit in the ankle or in that area on his foot in the first game. And it was like, are you kidding me? Could not get any worse. And he leaves the stadium, I believe, as a precaution in a walking boot. A lot of times the walking boot is to keep it stable and, just to help it. And then he got an MRI, got x-rays, and nothing was broken. And it was like, oh, like right. The rays of sunshine, like coming over, like, oh. And so he's been out, resting it. It's obviously it hurts. He said he was glad that he didn't get hit with a fastball, because that probably would have fractured it, or it would have been fractured. So he's been working out, slowly ramping back up, and I think he's going to be back in the lineup this week. So that is really good news.
That's what I heard. So some old friends of the Dodgers coming back in to visit them this week. Cody Bellinger, Michael Busch will both be there. I believe. All right. I'm not going to fool around with this. I know Shota Imanaga, Mike Imanaga II,
right,
and the return of Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yes.
They will match up with one another, and then of course Shohei will be there, so there will be huge Japanese presence.
Trifecta.
Yes, and so those guys will be pitching against each other. We'll talk about all those games versus the Cubs next week. When they're done with the Cubs, they head to Atlanta and then Miami, and the Dodgers finish up the season at home with Colorado, at home with the Padres, and then finish everything up in Colorado to wrap up the season and then find themselves into the playoffs. Question will be, I think right now it's pretty easy to figure Phillies, Dodgers, whichever's one and two, there's going to be those guys. And they're going to get the week off or the first round off.
Yeah, but they're going to have to approach it. If that's the case at this point, they have the week off, or the bye. But how are they going to approach it? Because that's been the problem in the past few years.
Really, the Cubs will be tough. The Braves, we don't know. They should be tough, but they're having their own issues.
Right.
But they've got good pitching. They've got the NL. You could almost wrap it up. Chris Sale's probably the NL Cy Young.
Yeah.
And then they go to Miami, and that's where they've got to be focused because Miami's an E team already. And, they got to play there because they need to come back ready. They got to play tough versus Colorado because Colorado always plays them tough. And then they have to be on top of it versus the Padres. Because the Padres can eat up a lot of ground with winning games versus them in the race. And maybe that would be a good thing to there be a challenge there.
Yeah.
So like Miguel Rojas said, we need to be focused and playing for something. And they will be almost to the end this time, depending on how the next couple of weeks go. We'll
Right.
see. But they've got to be able to do that so that when they go in, they're not like we've talked about before, not coming off a whole month of just meaningless games.
Yes.
Cruise control. They need to be juice is still flowing heading into the playoffs, even with the bye.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Who is your player of the week?
I went with Mookie. Mookie Betts.
We are unanimous in Mookie this week. 389 average with 2 home runs, had that triple, couple of doubles, and a 1394 OPS. I think I saw he has like a 14-game on base streak going. I think that was him. So he's playing well, 5 RBIs over that time frame. So unanimous this week. Mookie Betts is the Dodgers player of the week.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have, and peace they like. And they'll walk out to the bleachers, and sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines, where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
And there is the iconic speech from Field of Dreams as performed by James Earl Jones. He just passed away, born in 1931. So he was around for a good amount of time. 90 some odd years now,
Yeah,
right?
93.
93 years. So, figure baseball, obviously the Field of Dreams, he played a big part there. The Sandlot, another baseball movie.
That's right.
He plays there, and a movie that I'd kind of forgotten about, but I enjoyed him in that too, was Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars, about Negro League, players out barnstorming. And we know all the other stuff, Coming to America, and I liked him in like Clear and Present Danger and Jack Ryan movies.
Yes. And of course, the voice of Darth Vader.
Yeah, of course that. And then I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I'd forgotten he was in it. But somebody said something pretty interesting is that they think he was the last member of the cast of Doctor Strangelove to pass away. That every other main member of that cast has passed, and he was in that movie in 1964.
Wow.
So,
yeah,
50 plus years ago, almost 60. Well, no, 60 years ago, depending on when it came out. So, he was pretty young in his career then. Farewell to definitely an icon that all over the place, because even if you don't like baseball, you probably like Star Wars. And Darth Vader, even if you didn't like Star Wars, there was something about Darth Vader that comes up in our everyday lives. How can you not say, when you see somebody, this is, I'm your father.
That's
Luke,
right.
I am your father.
Yes.
Or one of his other big roles is just a voice role, Mufasa.
Yeah, from Lion King.
In the Lion King. So
absolutely.
Anyway, so farewell. Thanks, JEJ, for everything. All right, we're gonna hop into the bullpen cart and see what's going on around baseball, and we'll head to MLB style players of the week.
Yeah, in the American League, the player of the week is Gunnar Henderson. He had 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 2 stolen bases in 6 games. He had a .417 batting average, a .464 on-base percentage, and a slugging percentage of 833. And then in the National League, I don't think it's really a surprise. I mean, this guy hit like 3 home runs in 1 game. Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies, .452 batting average, 500 on-base percentage, and a 1.154 slugging percentage. 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 9 runs in 6 games.
So Gunnar Henderson also, with those home runs, became the all-time single-season home run leader for shortstops with the Baltimore Orioles.
Ooh.
So now all he needs to do is put together a string of 2,633 consecutive games.
Right.
And he will be at the same level, the guy who he passed for that shortstop.
Yeah, I don't know if he can do that. Yeah, the Iron Man, Cal Ripken Jr.
Nope, I don't think so. And it's what we just did just celebrated the anniversary of that, of him breaking that record here. Just this, when was it? It was just recently.
Yeah, just recently. I don't know exact
I'm
date.
trying to remember when that was, because I remember the day. I was with my buddy Tom. We were in San Diego at his house, and we were I actually went down there because we wanted to watch the game together. I'll have to look and see when he did September 19th of 1998. That's when it happened. So it's coming up.
It's coming up. Yeah. Knew it was around this time. This is something we've talked about in the past, where MLB gives the nominees of each team, for each team, for the Roberto Clemente Award. And then we never hear about it until who knows when. It's like all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's the winner. Well, now you can go to MLB.com, go to the website, and you can vote for the Roberto Clemente Award. And for the Dodgers, Mookie Betts is the nominee. And for the Angels, it is Mike Trout. And this award will be announced at the World Series. Now, what game? I have no idea, but it will be announced at the World Series. And of course, this award really highlights, obviously, Roberto Clemente's selfless service that he provided, and humanitarian that he was. This really highlights those players that, go above and beyond to help their communities.
Yeah, and you can only win it once, right?
Yeah, I think you can only win. Yeah, you only win it once.
Only win it
once
one time.
once you win it on Roberto Clemente Day, you can wear. I think you can wear, it's on your hat, but you, as a Roberto Clemente Award winner, you can also wear his number.
Right, along with the Puerto Rican players. And
right.
I think now they're making it where if you want to, anybody can.
Yeah, I think it's kind of open, but that was at least something they did this year. And I think I want to say that there's some type of emblem, something that kind of designates them.
Yeah.
Maybe a patch or something.
Well, they should. I mean, they make a big deal about it, and then it just kind of like you said, kind of fizzles out where.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it needs to be more than what it is.
Few notes. We got a few notes to go through here as we're heading around baseball. One thing is, and we've talked about this guy, we got to see him pitch at the All-Star game, Paul Skenes. Who started for the National League, is now the all-time strikeout leader for the Pirates, for strikeouts in a season, and breaking a record that was set in 1900 when he picked up his 143rd K. Last I checked, he was already at 151. So whatever he ends up with on this season will be the new record.
Right.
Whoever follows behind him for a single season. Now, we haven't talked about this yet. It was announced, I don't know, how long ago did they announce this? That it was like back in early August. And Major League Baseball announced that they were going to have a game in the infield of the Bristol Motor Speedway. So the MLB Speedway Classic, I guess is what they're calling it. And it's coming to, I didn't know they called Bristol this. I always remember watching Bristol was like one of the NASCAR stops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they call it Thunder Valley.
Oh, I didn't know that. Learned something new today.
Me too. I didn't know this either. But coming up on Saturday, August 2nd, 2025, there at Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, which is right up in the corner because there's Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia. It's all right there in northeastern Tennessee. they're going to have that game. The Reds and the Braves will be taken on. So while we probably should have brought this up back when it happened, we were kind of sitting around wondering how come nobody contacted us about this to ask us.
No phone calls.
Ask us what we thought about it. Ask us where we came up with the idea. Yes, they stole our idea.
Yes, they did.
If you go back and listen to season 1, I believe the 7th of September 2020 was when that I think that no, episode 10, it would have been earlier than that. I have to go back and look, but episode 10 of our podcast was we talked about, and Planet Head was one who brought this up. He brought up a few different ideas too to help us brainstorm and find new ways. He brought up that maybe you should do that on the infield.
Yeah.
So just so you can hear it, at the end of today's episode, when everything's done, listen up for a little bonus of that segment with us and talking about NASCAR baseball.
Yeah, that's a little bonus footage for you. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, hey, they're like 4 years late. We already had that idea. And yeah, nobody, no email, no phone call, no text, nothing. Nothing. We got nothing. But it was our idea.
I think they should invite us.
I think so too. I think we should be invited.
I think they should, fly us back there and, just fly us into like, Knoxville or Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Or even Nashville and drive us out to Bristol so we could take part in that, because maybe even throw out a first pitch. But I know they're going to have probably somebody from the NASCAR world or
right. But just to be on the field, just to be, that would be awesome. I mean, like, we have all these like great ideas and they're always, then we hear about it later. Like, oh, we're going to do this.
One thing that we do know is that the A's never took our Red Solo Cup idea.
They didn't, which is unfortunate because I think that one was a really good one.
And Red Solo Cups, I believe that was season 3, as I recall. So go back through if you haven't listened to them, or if you listened to them before, but you're like, hey, I don't remember that. Go back and listen to it again.
Yeah.
Nobody says you can't listen to any of these episodes as many times as you'd like. So anyway, just as a special little bonus this week, we do have the segment will be at the end of this episode for your listening and dancing pleasure.
Yes, from the vault.
From the vault. There we go. Flashback.
So I haven't really heard much about the Giants this year. They've been very quiet. I mean, you had the Blake Snell no-hitter.
I think they're like 3 games from being eliminated.
Yeah, they've just been quiet. But they did do something, and that was they have extended Matt Chapman $151 million for 6 years. So he will be a Giant for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and hopefully that deal works out better for the Giants than long deals like that have worked out for the Angels.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's like the one little peep you heard out of San Francisco, for the Giants.
Yeah, they're about to be eliminated. Them and Toronto should be the next couple of teams that are eliminated from playoff contention.
Right. Made a big deal, was excited to hear that Rich Hill was being called up to the Red Sox, and it wasn't meant to be. He was DFA'd. He pitched 3 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs, and had 5 strikeouts. So long, Rich Hill.
Now the question is, and it was something we brought up last week, so we can, since we talked about Rich Hill here, will he retire? He's 44.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like, he's necessarily going to get any better. He might, but not everybody can be Satchel Paige or Nolan Ryan. Satchel Paige was like 90. He was still able to pitch.
Yeah, he was striking them out left and right. Yeah, I would see. I mean, I guess, you think about it. You have to be. I think sometimes you hear about this, especially with athletes. You have to come to terms with that. I'm not going to play anymore. Not professionally. I'm not going to. Right. It's different, I think, than. I think it's different than someone, that's just has I say regular job, right? And you retire. But for someone who plays, I mean, look at Tom Brady. I mean, obviously we're not comparing Tom Brady and Rich Hill, but what I mean by that is, he's going to retire.
Other than they both played in New England. Right.
That's it. He's going to retire. No, he's not going to retire. It's the same thing. Like, I used to watch, Dad used to watch PBR a lot. So I started watching PBR with him. And those guys, that's like really a rough sport. And you have to decide, do you feel comfortable? Do you want to ride bulls anymore? Do you even like it? Is it even fun? If it's not fun, then you retire. And maybe for Rich Hill, it's, is baseball fun anymore for him?
Well, speaking of people who have said, coming to terms, we didn't talk about it when it happened, just like we didn't talk about the Raceway. Joey Votto finally just said, I really don't want to do this anymore. Good article in The Athletic about his mindset and how he got to the point that he decided he wanted to retire.
Yeah, I mean, I think for an athlete, it's just different. It's just a total different mindset. And
well, he said in the article that he found that the things that used to make him angry or ready to compete were gone.
Yeah.
He's like, he said when he got released, or when the Reds said, we're not going to bring you back next year, he was mad about that and he wanted to prove to him. But as times went, he'd have a bad day at the plate. He's like, that used to drive me up a wall, and I would go, and he goes, and then it was like, man, whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, I knew.
Yeah. And he had been injured and, was constantly, it seemed like, on a rehab assignment. But I think you just get to that point where it's just like, it's that time, it's me.
Well, plus he said I was batting 178.
Well, that too.
Single A or whatever. And it just wasn't.
Yeah. There's that too. And then James Paxton, he's on the 60-day IL now. He's with the Reds. He was with the Dodgers. He is also going to retire after this season. And I think that's a good call. I like James Paxton. I really enjoyed watching him pitch as a Dodger. He had some good outings. But I think you just get to a point where, it's what's more important in life. And maybe baseball isn't at the top like it used to be.
Right. And that's the thing is that, if you can't compete anymore, even, and I think even the mindset, that's what brings people back. Sometimes even when they can't compete physically, mentally, they still have that spirit. And that's what Joey Votto was saying. I had it and then it was gone. I knew not to go. I didn't want to go back.
Right.
We've talked about Kevin Kiermaier has already said he's going to retire at the end of the season. Kevin Pillar
Right.
is another one. Both of these guys, and part of it you wonder, you're already retiring. Kevin Kiermaier's only like 34. I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
how old Pillar is. But now you got to start asking questions, and it came up was like Paul Goldschmidt. He's at that time frame. Is he ready, or will he continue on another year?
Yeah.
Andrew McCutcheon. He's 37 now. Is he going to come back next year? A little closer to home, Clayton Kershaw. I think this is a question every year.
Every year.
And now the one thing with Clayton, unlike last year, where he was a free agent, he has a player option. So you figure, it's not up to the Dodgers to re-sign him. It's he can decide if he wants to be, on the. He can just say, "Yeah, I'm going to play again one more year."
Yeah, and I think, and that's how it's been, right, for the last couple of seasons. It's always, is he or isn't he? And he always does come back. But I've heard that maybe one more season, but, we'll see. He had the shoulder surgery. Maybe he wants, and he's got this bone spur, but he's been dealing with it. So, they're figuring that out. So maybe he wants to be able to come back one more season, healthy, ready to go, spring training, and then call it after that.
Well, I wonder if they're able to win the World Series this year.
Yeah.
If that'll be.
Well, yeah, I think that could be a deciding. Yeah, I think that would be a deciding factor too.
So, him there. There's players. Anthony Rendon, who is going to come up here again pretty shortly. Somebody else who says himself, he told Jeff Fletcher from OC Register, I think about retiring or stepping away from the game. He says his family, and I think this has happened because he spent so much time away from baseball being injured, that he spent more time with his family, that he's kind of like, I really just want to be, spend time with my family. I don't want to play anymore. I'm not that as motivated as I was.
Right.
And kind of like what we were talking about. And when he gets to that point, it's like, go ahead and call it then. Call it a career. Nobody's going to hold that against you. They're going to say, okay, yeah, do it.
And he's going to have, he's a World Series winner. He has a ring with the Nationals. And he had a decent career. I think he definitely could have gone a lot better in Anaheim, but it just wasn't to be, I guess.
How many players can say that about their time in Anaheim? At least one other guy.
Yeah.
Mike Trout, maybe he needs to think about retirement too.
Maybe.
Another guy who we like a lot, who played here in LA, Justin Turner. Is it time for him to hang him up? He still seems to be playing pretty well, but he's 39. They just started their family. They got the little bearded baby.
Yeah. I can't get over, every time I see a picture of that baby, I can't get over. He is just a mini me of JT.
Yeah. So, will he be somebody that goes, a couple other guys that are just age-wise, Jesse Chavez. Unless he's going for, let me pitch for everybody.
Yes.
There's still some teams I haven't pitched for. He needs to do like that thing, what's his name? Will Ferrell did. A few years ago, where he played for every team that played in Arizona.
Right, during spring training. Yeah, I think he could
all in one day.
I think that'd be that'd be crazy, but that'd be fun.
And then another guy who was I didn't realize he had gotten this old, but former Asterisk, part of the 2017 team, Yuli Gurriel, is like 40. Right now.
Wow. Huh.
And
Well, I mean, you look at guys like, Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try to pitch until his arm falls off. It seems like.
Right.
But we've seen, especially this year, with more injuries. So will that will that factor in?
Maybe, yeah.
To,
I'm sure that has to play into as well. Another guy that I started wondering about, Jason Hayward.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just going to mention Jay Hay because, I mean, he's with the Astros now, but will he stick it out? Will he, one more season, or is he going to hang it up himself?
Right.
So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on those guys, because they may, after you're away from the game, with your family, you have to sit and ponder, what's
and like
the
you
best.
said, injuries can play a big part in this. Speaking of which, a couple guys for the Rangers are going to be finally coming off of the IL and making their 2024 season debuts. Obviously, Texas, while not technically eliminated yet, they're getting close.
Right.
But the debut of a guy that we thought was going to be huge, and we mentioned his teammate earlier, Vandy, pitcher.
One of the Vandy boys.
Kumar Rocker.
Yeah.
Who pitched with Jack Leiter there in Vandy. Gets drafted, and then his arm falls apart. Mm-hmm. So they got to put him back together. And even then, he ends up playing independent ball. Eventually gets drafted and ends up with the Texas Rangers with his buddy Jack. And he will finally be making his debut this week. So we'll check in and see how he did when we look at games next week. And then another guy who was supposed to be a Hall of Famer is making his season begin. He had like 4 Tommy John surgeries by now, I think. Something like that.
It seems like, Jacob deGrom.
Dun, dun.
Making his debut tomorrow, actually. So against the Mariners.
Got the Mariners. So these are guys coming off, but there's a whole bunch of new guys finding their way onto the wheel.
All right, Atlanta's Whit Merrifield is on the IL with a fractured left foot. I am curious about this because I'd heard that he hopes to be back in the lineup against the Dodgers. And this didn't happen that long ago. And so, what is this fracture? Can they, what do you tape it up? What do you do? I don't know. What do you do?
Glue it back together.
Yeah, for him to be back. So we'll see if he's in the lineup. Chris Bryant, he's out for the season. He's probably out for the season. He was never really in the season, but Bud Black said he's probably out for the season. It's his back again. And I really feel like Chris Bryant, he was in Chicago. It was his heyday, won the World Series. He has a young family. They moved to Colorado, the nice place, and he has put himself out to pasture.
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Anthony Rendon is on the IL with back issues, back strain.
Actually,
is it a back?
Actually, he was day to day with back issues.
Oh, right.
Now,
is it more
he
than
is
that?
on for. He's officially on the IL with an O.
That's right. So it traveled
It went
around.
around, and it's just bleak. He doesn't even
It's
get
just
it's just
It's just
bleak.
bleak. It's bleak. And Joe Adele also on the IL, but he's
And
on
now
the
he really does have an bleak
yes.
issue.
And he's on the 60-day. But I have a question. Was he doing TikTok dances after
I'm
the
not
IL?
sure.
Or was it before, and that's how he got the oblique injury?
Whatever it was, he wasn't very good at the TikTok dance, so it really could have been any time, because if it matched up with how he plays, it was just not good.
Right.
And the one thing that's kind of we don't get to see farther, but he had changed and was hitting better.
He was.
And he had changed from doing a leg kick to a toe tap. And with the toe tap, he was hitting almost 100 points better. So the question will be, when he comes back next season, and the 60-day that he's on was just so that they could put somebody else on the 40-man roster. When you're on the 60-day, you don't have to be on the roster. You're still protected, but so like Trout is on the 60-day.
Right.
Adele's on the 60-day. Rendon will just sit on the 10. But if they need to, Jose Soriano, who was already on the IL with a tired, fatigued arm, moved to the 60-day just because his arm's still tired.
Right.
His arm is still Scherzered, as it were.
Scherzered. I like that. We also have another Angel. Ben Joyce is on the IL with shoulder inflammation.
Another shoulder thing for him. This is the second shoulder thing for him.
Well, his whole identity as a pitcher is how fast can he throw it? How fast can he throw the ball? And he throws it 105.7.
He threw over 105, in a couple of different games. But he had finally, the last time when he came up last year, he had the shoulder problem.
Right.
And I said, if he's going to keep just throwing that hard, he's going to have a problem. And sure enough, not even that many games in, he threw a couple of games, maybe 5-6 innings, he already had a shoulder issue.
Well, I feel like when I watched him pitch, especially against the Dodgers, he had a good inning against the Dodgers. He threw hard, it was 105 with those pitches. But I felt like when he walked off the mound, it had nothing to do with how well he pitched. It had to do everything with how fast it was, what was on the gun, what was on the radar gun.
And the announcers, I mean, he can't hear them, but they're just like slobbering all over themselves about the fact that he could throw that hard. Well, great. But here he is a second time, and it's just inflammation. And he says, well, it'll be all right, and I'm going to come back. But the reason he's had success this year was because he was learning how to pitch.
Right.
And he's not doing that.
No, he's back to his bad habits.
Yep. Just like we said with Joe Adele. He started off okay, and then he got cocky again. We're seeing that with Zach Neto, getting cocky. You know what? Yeah, you're doing well, but you have to have some humility. Look at the guys who've done well. The guys who remained cocky throughout were guys who put it up every single day.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right. Anthony Banda of the Los Angeles Dodgers did something stupid. He was upset after giving up some runs, and he came in contact. His left hand came in contact with a solid object. Solid object 1, Anthony Banda 0, because he has a fractured left hand.
And chances are that means he's done.
Yeah, and although I heard like, oh, it's minor, maybe he'll be back. I'm like, I don't think he'll be back.
No, I don't think so either. But what are you going to do?
Jeff McNeil has a fractured right wrist, and he is out for the season. Ross Stripling has lower back strain. Hassan Kim has been out with a shoulder, and Mike Schultz said he's not as close as they want him to be. So he's a big question mark. Seattle's Luis Castillo has a grade 2 left hamstring strain. And JT Realmuto with a knee tweak, I'm going to say, and Kyle Schwarber with an elbow. They are in the lineup, but they're still listed as day-to-day. So that's going to be something we'll have to watch.
Yeah, and that could have a big issue for them with the in the playoffs.
Most definitely.
All right, so Luis Arise. We know he's a good hitter. Only 2 strikeouts since the All-Star break. There's
crazy
guys that have struck out 2 or 3 times in the same game. So it's amazing.
The Phillies were playing the Tampa Bay Rays, and Edwin Yusita was pitching, and he hit Nick Castellanos. And, of course, Nick Castellanos took exception to that, as did Bryce Harper. And benches cleared. Yusita was given a 2-game suspension. Kevin Cash was given a 1-game suspension. My issue with this is I don't think that he was hitting him on purpose. I don't think. But I feel like Nick Castellanos is just, when it comes to that kind of stuff, he's kind of a crybaby. Like, he thinks everyone's hitting him. Everyone's after him.
He and Profar.
Right. And so I'm like,
what do you
get
want
over
from a guy who thinks that Scooby-Doo is a superhero?
That's true. That's true.
So I don't know, but yeah, that's something, that these guys thinking that they're just out to get them. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Before we put this thing to bed, we want to talk a little bit about MVP. The AL is pretty much a no-brainer. It's going to be Aaron Judge or like Bobby Witt Jr. Those are the 2 big performers and most valuable for their team. The big question, the big debate is more about Shohei Ohtani. Are they going to give an MVP to a DH? That's a good question. Obviously, this year, that's all he's been, but he has been very much the most valuable player, or one of the most valuable players for the Dodgers. He can't do it all alone, but he's really setting some high standards for the league right now. And it feels like they're trying to make and create some kind of conversation that Francisco Lindor is more qualified because he plays defense. Well, if Shohei was pitching as well, that would take that away. He's not able to do that, but he's still able to contribute. So there's a lot of questions about whether or not a DH should be allowed to win the MVP. Shohei's the front runner. Francisco Lindor's doing a lot for the Mets, but is he an MVP? That's a good question. Defensively, he's average, slightly below average at best. He's been hitting very well, and I love Francisco Lindor, but is he the MVP? And is this made up controversy simply because it's like, hey, DHs can't be the MVP? Well, they also said DHs can't be in the Hall of Fame, and yet Edgar Martinez was elected to the Hall of Fame. Big Papi, David Ortiz, was like, hey, he's a favorite. He's the darling of the MLB. Like, diminishing what Shohei's done. And it sounds like sour grapes because he was primarily DH and nobody considered him. But he was only DHing. He wasn't going out to play the field. He wasn't pitching. Shohei will be back to that next year. So he doesn't get it this year because even though he had a great offensive year, it's not good enough because he didn't play defense. I don't know. I think the rules are ever changing. And I think, and obviously it's easy for me because I'm a Shohei fan. I'm not detracting from him. I think one of the funniest things I've heard as far as Shohei goes was more a direct attack against the Dodgers, but it's like, well, fine, I can't wait to see them lose in the first round of the playoffs. That was an Angels fan who said that. It's like, okay, but at least he went to the playoffs by changing teams. He wasn't going to make it to the playoffs with the Angels. So that's a silly argument. Just like here, just because he's only a DH doesn't mean he's not a most valuable player. Without them, what would they have done? The Dodgers, we know, would have played well, but would they have played as well? He's proven it. And yeah, right now, I'm sure the league wants that. He's good for how much money has Big Papi brought into the league compared to what Shohei did. So that'll be something we talk about more and more as we finish up this season. We get here and right as because everybody's got to vote on this before the end of the season, because everything is tallied, and then we find out after the playoffs who won everything. But it's based off of the season. So I know that I just got the ballot from the IBWAA about it. So Jan and I will both be voting on that. Jana had to step away, so she's not here to finish up the episode with me. But she'll be back with us next week, feeling better. And that does it for this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast. Like I said, Jana will be back next week. She just had to excuse herself a little early from this episode. Find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A. Our website is siblingrivalrybb.com. And you can check out the Fanatics link to get gear for your favorite teams. I go there, and that's how I do it. So, you can get not just baseball gear, not just Dodgers or Angels, but any team in any sport, pretty much. There was also Olympic gear. They've got soccer kits and more. So check that out at our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Remember, at the end of this episode, going to play the segment about the NASCAR and baseball together, just to show, hey, back. In fact, check it out. It was our 10th episode, aired on the 28th, or published on the 28th of May, 2020. And it was called MLB Season of What Ifs. And you can, like I said, hear the segment specifically about the NASCAR and baseball coming together at the end of this episode. And then also mentioned Red Solo Cups, a promotion we had talked about and targeted towards the athletics. That was in Season 3, Episode 19. It was published on the 11th of August. So that would have been 2021 and or 2022. 2022 Red Solo Cups. So until next time, hey, get locked in. There's some great baseball and some pennant races going on, and we'll talk more about the Dodgers race there, what's happening with the Angels as they try to get things set up and ready for next season, and of course this AL and NL MVP race. Until next week, don't forget to swing away.
NASCAR has, I think, the biggest viewership of, I wouldn't say of all sports, but it's a big chunk of viewers for NASCAR. And they are racing at the racetracks, no fans, but they're racing. Of course, people are watching it on TV because they're clamoring for sports. Planet Head, our friend of the show, is come up with another harebrained idea. How about you have NASCAR race, And you have the infield, a nice grassy infield. Put a baseball diamond in the middle of that infield while they're racing, have a baseball game. And you get the two together, and the viewership between the NASCAR fans, baseball fans, and then just people who want to see what's going on, because that's really crazy. It could be out of this world, explosive, like break records, viewership records across everything.
I think, yeah. As you're saying that, I'm trying to envision what it would look like. The tracks are pretty big. They're pretty long.
Yeah.
You're going to have an area that has to be of the infield because people go and buy tickets to sit in the infield. They'll park their RVs.
True.
You do have an area that has to be for the pit area for
Right.
the car. So you figure out how to put in the field, and then instead of putting up a fence out in the outfield, why not have those people park their RVs along the edge, whatever the outfield limit would be for the wall, at 400 feet, and have them just arc across. And they get a discount if they decide to park there in case their motorhomes get hit with baseballs.
Right. I was just going to say, probably have to sign a liability waiver of some sort.
Sign a waiver, get a discount for parking in that area.
Yes.
And then you put up the regular netting in different areas, but there's no fans right there, or there could be some fans in different areas. Maybe they even kind of park along the sides and behind home plate.
Yeah.
And while they're racing, if a ball goes out and hits the track, then that just adds a degree of difficulty. They've got to constantly be watching because a ball might be hit out of the park, as it were, or a foul ball back up and over.
Yeah, right into a windshield.
Right. As you're going into one of the turns, boom.
It could even possibly go through the car.
Right. Yeah. So not only would you get the excitement of the race, the fun of the game, when things like that happen, it could turn the whole thing. The guy who's been leading the race for 3/4 of the race all of a sudden takes a baseball to the windshield and crashes. Or what if he takes the baseball, swerves a little bit, and then holds on to still win the race?
That would be amazing. What about the players that aren't playing could also be part of the pit crew for some of the drivers?
That's right. You're not on the bench. You're part of the pit crew until they need you.
Yeah, help
it.
out, learn a new trade. I don't know.
That could be,
but you also
life after baseball. You could become a pit crew, and I'm sure some of those guys probably like NASCAR.
Oh yeah,
Or racing.
I'm sure
in
there's
general.
fans.
They would find fun in doing that. Could be one of those things. I always wanted to do that.
So this, you get, like I said, you get the NASCAR fans, you get the baseball fans, and you could have pitcher and pitcher. So if you're more of a baseball fan, then you could have your main pitcher be baseball, and then the race up at the top, and vice versa.